Hello. What house does Aquarius occupy in your natal or birth chart? I'm Boy. You're awesome. This is the new moon in Aquarius. Compare and contrast these aspects to that of your own natal or birth chart for further nuance, for further insight. Let's talk about it. Now, there are two conjunctions happening in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius. That's a fixed sign. So you want to look at what placements you have in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, or Taurus. You'll be impacted by this new moon. Now, if you would like to set intentions for this new moon, that's what the new moon is all about, setting intentions for the lunation cycle. Drop some knowledge. What house does Aquarius occupy in your natal or birth chart? And I'll be able to let you know the themes of that house so you can set the appropriate intentions aligned with the stars. Without further ado, let's break it down. Now, like any new moon, we have the sun and moon conjunct in the sign of Aquarius. We also have Mars and Pluto conjunct in the sign of Aquarius. For the first time in living history, Mercury has never conjunct Pluto in Aquarius while any of us have been alive. Now, that conjunction with Pluto and Mercury is forming a sextile with Venus and Neptune in Pisces. Now, this is very much about asking us to come to terms with the global community and humanity in general. We need to move through things. We need to let go of any gripes and actually push forward. Now, for many of you, this will look like pure escapism. You will not want to accept reality and you will escape it in some way, shape, or form. For others, you will actually show compassion, you will dissolve boundaries, and you will meld with the new amalgamation of what Mercury and Pluto is transforming humanity into. The presence of Venus and Neptune in this sextile with Pluto and Mercury is quite interesting. Now, Pluto and Mercury are trying to get the word out and trying to transform the collective, change the trajectory of the future. It's very technological. It's very concerned with progressing society forward, moving society forward. Now, with Neptune and Venus involved, there is a certain idealism around certain paradigms of how the future should unfold. And as I said, many of you will want to escape the reality of where we're going with humanity. Many of you will accept it and move through it. Now, the higher frequency of Venus and Neptune is dissolving boundaries and forming some kind of unification with our forward trajectory. Pluto and Mercury will be churning up some pretty interesting information that will be broadcasted across the internet. The internet is ruled by Aquarius after all. So additionally, I'd like to highlight the aspect pattern known as a talent triangle. Now, this is Mars, Uranus, they're both in retrograde, Mars in Cancer, Uranus in Taurus, and finally this Saturn, Venus, and Neptune down in Pisces. That forms a talent triangle, and I believe this is a comment about the cost of living crisis, the inflation, global liquidity, and the financial system at large. Which leads me to believe there's going to be some big news, transformations, things we learn about in the financial system over this next lunation cycle. Now, we are trying to address inflation globally. We are trying to bring the cost of living down. Now, this does work in our favor, but I also think that the presence of Neptune actually dilutes the water, makes things very unclear. So, in other words, we might be told straight up lies about things might be getting better when they're actually not when it comes to global finance. Or who's to say, maybe they're not lying and maybe things will improve. Legislation, policies, I assume will be released or come to light considering both Mercury and Jupiter are involved in this new moon. But in any regard, even if we're told things, I wouldn't be taking things on face value. They're more like bargaining chips or negotiations getting thrown at the populace. We're expected to believe that on face value. I think not. Now, when it comes to stabilizing economies and the cost of living crisis and your own financial situation, we're not going to get a lot of closure around that until July when Uranus finally does leave Taurus, just an FYI. Now, looking at the actual new moon, that's the conjunction between Sun and moon in the sign of Aquarius at 9 degrees. It's forming a sextile with Jupiter in Gemini. So again, we see the media highlighted and we see contrarian silos of information broadcasted from each side of the political aisle, from each side of the religious or ideological aisle. We're seeing alternative perspectives, overwhelming information that could very well change your mind about certain topics in your life. Now, this will be broadcasted on the internet. These are both air signs, social signs. You'll be hearing them word from mouth or direct from the feed. I do expect some pretty outrageous, shocking headlines in this time. If it's not on the day, it will actually play out in the next 2 weeks leading up to the full moon in Leo. Now, I didn't actually highlight this, but we have a quintile between Jupiter and Venus. So if you have been doing your due diligence, looking into certain investments moving forward, this is a fantastic time to put your money where your mouth is potentially, and there could be a big return. Or globally, stocks could actually have a big return. Bitcoin, blockchain could have a big return over this next 2-week period. Just saying. That's my interpretation of the new moon in Aquarius. I hope you liked it. Drop some knowledge, ask some questions. Maybe I'll do a video response. Book me for a reading. Who knows? I'm Sukboy. You're awesome. Hope that helps. Goodbye.